Yo, what's up guys? John Boogle here, and today we got the Little Eraser in-depth guide, a very straightforward level and very easy as well. This is just the same thing as Manic Eraser, pretty much just Legend Cat cycle, and that's about it. So here we are with the basic lineup. All you really need here is a bunch of stallers. Literally fill your lineup with as much efficient stallers as you can. And if you don't have the collab staller that we have, you can use Trueform Pogo. And this is what you need to do. Just literally fill your first top row with stallers. Then you're set for that. Camera is very optional in this level, but is very clutch against the peon waves, and especially those snakes that manage to get through and ruin your stalling. Prisoner Cat is also optional, but it does outrange Little Eraser, and it's really nice to have. If you have Vendor, it's also very useful in this level. It can crowd control the boy, and there's lots of units to use. What you want for the bottom row is basically either peon control units like Cyborg, Camera, and such, and then just fill the rest with your legends, and the rest is just bringing units that outrange Little Eraser. So in this case we're using Prisoner. If you do have Little Dragon's true form, you can use that, but the legends are the main carry in this level. So Little Nye, Crazed Bahamut, do not bring Awakened Bahamut, Crazed Bahamut, Running Wolf. These are the three legends you absolutely need for this level. If you have some other stuff that outrange Little Eraser that can be used and you don't have Prisoner, let's say, you can replace it with that. But if you have level 30 legends, you should be fine. Power-ups I recommend for this is Sniper Cat. Everything else is optional. You do not need Rich Cat. You do not need Cat CPU. Sniper is kind of helpful in this level since the level or the stage is a very small stage size, so having Sniper for that extra crowd control if your Runner and Wolf doesn't get knockbacks or Little Nye doesn't get slow procs, Sniper is there for guaranteed knockbacks. Cat Cannons, Breaker Blast works, Slow Beam is very nice. Regular Cat Cannon works as well, but I recommend Slow Beam over the regular Cat Cannon. Yeah, this is where I realized I brought Awakened Bahamut instead of Crazed Bahamut, so don't do that, and make sure you bring Crazed Bahamut. So the beginning here is pretty obvious. You just want to try to maximize your wallet as much as possible, and whenever you are ready, you can hit the base and unleash Little Eraser. Just make sure you have at least one legend in the stack that you've built when you hit the base. Otherwise, Little Eraser will just start pushing forward very quickly. Now this is a pretty bad run where we spawned a little bit too much cameras and they did hit the base a little bit too early. So you want to make sure you are absolutely ready when you hit the base. Otherwise, Little Eraser will push forward very hard. So let's talk about legend cycling. So as you can see, when there's Albros, the legend you want to cycle for them is of course Little Nye, and he can take care of them very easily. And once the Gories arrive, that's when you want to cycle your Running Wolf. And of course, if you couldn't tell already, for the last wave of peons, it's Bahamut. But what you want to do is make sure not to have all three the legends out on the field at the same time. You do not want all of them to die and be left with nothing. You want to cycle them for each enemy wave and save them for the most dire situation. So as long as you keep doing that and keep cycling your legends and not sending them all out at once, you should be slowly able to take down this Little Eraser and manage the peon waves at the same time as well. Because the main issue is peons pushing through your stallers and then Little Eraser one-shotting your legends. And that happens very easily if you do have them all together, so that's what you want to avoid. And Little Nye is kind of an exception because he has a lot of survivability, being at a very far range and being very slow as well. He doesn't tend to move into Eraser's attack as much as Jordan Wolf or Bahamut does. So every time you do get the chance, you can send out Little Nye, because he does tend to stay alive a lot longer than the other two legends. And all while doing this, if you are using Prisoner, you want to send that out as much as possible, if not every time it recharges, since it does outrange Little Eraser, and it's nice to have for that little chip damage, and that stack can slowly add up, and sometimes it'll manage the Albros on its own. And if your legends keep dying way too early, that means you just need more stallers. And if you do get unlucky somehow and your legends still keep dying, that's when you'll have to manage the peon waves with stuff like Cyborg and Camera. But I do not recommend doing it all the time, since Eraser will push very hard if you do just manage the peon waves with something like Camera. So unless you're in a dire situation where your legends died and you have no other way to manage the peon waves, let's say the gories come out and you have to use Camera, you can do that. But if Little Eraser is too close to the base already, it is going to be a very huge risk. So if you have Little Eraser at a good distance, you can just manage the peon waves with Camera, Cyborg, etc. But just make sure you save your legends for the peon waves and you should be perfectly fine. Only resort to Camera and such if you are in a dire situation. But cycling Camera every now and then for the occasional squirrel does help a lot. It might seem like a small thing, but it definitely helps a lot, because the squirrel tends to stop your stallers from moving forward, and that's when Prisoner becomes in death range for Little Eraser. So cycling Camera for the squirrels is not a bad thing to do. Yeah, this fight is pretty long depending on how many units you bring that outrange Little Eraser. 15 or 10 minutes, around that mark. Decently long level, really just a cycling level. If you try to stack in this level, you will get punished very horribly, because once Little Eraser just one-shots your whole stack, then you really have no defense for the peon waves. So like I said multiple times already, just make sure you cycle your legends and you should be fine. Yeah, if you do this for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, like I said, Little Eraser will eventually go down, and that's pretty much it. And there you go, you have got Little Eraser. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this guide. Very simple, very similar to Manic Eraser in cycling the whole legend thing, but this time you won't be able to use those overpowered Ubers. So pretty much the same thing as the no-gacha Manic Eraser lineup. But yeah, that's it guys for this video. Drop a like if this guide did help you out. Subscribe if you're new. Join the hashtag Boogle gang. It's been John Boogle, and see ya.